the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
A visible police presence and more marked cars on Bowie State campus. What else? University leaders are adding as students head back to class 1 week after a shooting.
And rain through this weekend, making for some soggy conditions. But as we go into this new week, when could we see our next round of rainfall? We'll have a look at your forecast in just a bit.
Stretching your dollar, the sweet savings ahead of Halloween. How to avoid financial fright.
Hey, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Mark Hall. Meteorologist Damon Matson joins us now with the latest check on the forecast. And Damon, we know that it's a cloudy start to the work week, but my question is, will I need an umbrella later on this afternoon?
Oh, that's the good question, Mark. Yeah, we've had the clouds hanging around at times here over the last couple of days. Yesterday was a good example. It was a little sunny in the morning, then those clouds rolled in. It looked like it wanted to rain, and we'll see a similar setup here today. But let's talk about that rainfall first and foremost. Yeah, Saturday primarily was the day we picked up most of this rain, which at the end of the day wasn't a whole lot once you spread it out over the 24 to 36 hours that we had the soggy weather. DC ended up at just less than 1/2 of an inch. We saw some higher totals here out across western Maryland toward West Virginia. Up into the higher terrain is where that soggy weather really got going there. But all in all, it was just a small little bit of rainfall given how dry we've been over the last several days. And yeah, it's been dry over the last 24 hours or so. Yesterday didn't see really much rain at all, and today we're seeing more of the same. Yes, we do have some passing clouds. Tough to see on this satellite picture. We have to take a different background to really show you the cloud cover as it expands out over the DMV once again. There was that little bit of clearing we had near DC across southern Maryland into northern Virginia, but that is now quickly being filled in by plenty of cloud cover. But even as the skies do turn gray into this afternoon, the chances for rainfall continue to be very minimal, especially off to the east. If anything, we'll see some spotty showers back across the mountains of western Maryland and West Virginia once again, while the rest of us just see plenty of clouds and temperatures that will be confined to the upper 50s. It may be reaching 60 degrees given a breezy northwesterly wind that sticks around today. So as we go toward the middle of the week with the clouds hanging around today, do we see more sunshine over the next few days? We'll have a look at your full forecast in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. Developing now in Fairfax County, police are helping someone with minor injuries after a two-car crash at Franconia Road in Rose Hill. There's no word on who or how many people were injured, as well as the cause of the crash. They've closed the road between Norton and Wilton Road. Police are asking folks to avoid that area. Well, students and staff at Bowie State University are back in the classroom today after a week of canceled classes that happened because of a shooting that took place during homecoming week a week ago. DC News Now's Lex Juarez has changes already made on campus by school leaders.
Right, and you can see it in action right now. They're going to be increasing the number of security that people are seeing as they come onto campus and are on campus. Not only the number of security, but also marked vehicles that will be visible for these students and faculty. While this is one measure already in place, there are others being considered as well, and other new measures that we're seeing today. Now, school gates and checkpoints have new and more strict guidelines for letting people onto campus, and they're going to be staffed by security 24 hours a day. On top of that, there's also an updated campus alert system that's now in place. Now, the measures that the university is looking into potentially adding, the Office of Campus Security is looking into using an AI weapons detection system, adding metal detectors to residential housing, upgrading outdoor lighting, and adding more license plate readers throughout the campus. And we know this shooting is still fresh on the minds of students and faculty this morning as they are heading back to class, but they do say that seeing the action from the university that's already been taken is making them feel better. They say this is a good step forward as they head back to the classroom today.
It definitely makes me feel safer, I'll say that. Having these checks, making sure that we are aware of who's actually on campus, I think it's for the better.
One other thing campus security is looking into is an active shooter training for faculty and staff. In Bowie, I'm Lex Juarez, DC News Now.
Lex, thank you. Meanwhile, investigators are still looking for 18-year-old Javon Williams. He's pictured here on your screen. Police say that he's connected to the mass shooting at Morgan State. Now, Williams is considered armed and dangerous, and so far, a 17-year-old boy from D.C. is in police custody for the shooting. He's facing several counts of attempted murder. Officials say that neither suspect has ties to Morgan State. Well, in the district, D.C. police are reporting 5 overnight carjackings from Saturday into Sunday. 3 of the 5 carjackings involved guns, 1 involved a knife, and 1 was unarmed. 2 Uber drivers were victims in the crimes. You can see where those carjackings took place right on your screen. They all happened between 8 p.m. Saturday and 3:30 Sunday morning. Anyone with information on these crimes is asked to contact police. And D.C. police releasing safety tips to help keep you from having your car stolen. They suggest drivers stay alert, park in well-lit areas, and contact your dealership for software updates. And you can also consider purchasing anti-theft devices. You can contact your local police station to see if they have any free wheel locks. And staying in the district, police say that they broke up a crowd of roughly 300 kids Friday night in Tenleytown, Wawa, in Northwest, and it happened around 8 p.m. Police say that the crowd was inside and outside of the convenience store on 40th Street. It's not known who was fighting before the crowd was broken up. No injuries were reported. Happening now, Councilmember Brooke Pinto is hosting crime and public safety walks in each ward with other ward council members and representatives from public safety agencies. Today's first safety walk is now in Ward 7 on Minnesota Avenue Northeast, and that ends at 1. She'll then head to Ward 6, conducting another crime walk from 2 to 3. That's happening on N Street in Southwest. And for more on what residents can expect from these public safety walks, DC News Now's Daniel Hamburg walked alongside district leaders and concerned neighbors.
I'm Brooke Pinto. Nice to meet you. Yes.
Councilmember Brooke Pinto, chair of the Committee on Judiciary and Public Safety, is talking directly with neighbors affected by crime.
I hope we're at an inflection point where it's going to start to get better. I think everybody across the city is feeling the increase in crime, both from petty crime to serious crime as well.
A 40% increase in violent crime compared to last year.
Because last time we did a walk in
This public safety walk in Ward 1 comes after Pinto introduced her Secure DC plan several weeks ago, aiming to cut down on crime.
I want to make sure that we're inviting the public, inviting stakeholders, inviting residents and my colleagues to participate in how to make sure that this legislation is as effective and strong as possible.
As Pinto walks through the U Street corridor, police outlining ways they're trying to cut down on robberies and using dogs along side streets to sniff out guns in cars, hoping to slow the grim statistic of more than 200 homicides this year.
A lot of us are working really hard to turn that around with things like getting the crime lab reaccredited, making sure we have police deployed in the right places across the city.
Pinto says her package of bill focuses on preventing crime, setting up training programs, and giving more resources for diversion programs.
Our thanks to Daniel Hamburg. As the war between Israel and Hamas enters the 10th day, the death toll continues to rise. The war has claimed over 4,000 lives since the October 7th surprise attack by Hamas, a militant group in Palestine labeled by a terrorist organization by top U.S. officials. The U.S. State Department says that 30 Americans are among those who have died since that war broke out, with an additional 13 missing. Meantime, it seems that there's no end to the crisis, with over 1 million people in the northern Gaza Strip struggling to evacuate after a warning from Israel ordering people to move south, as Israel is preparing a ground offensive in the region. Meanwhile, the humanitarian crisis worsens, and hospitals in Gaza filled with wounded people are warning if supplies run out, thousands could die ahead of that planned Israeli ground attack. And medics in Gaza sounding that warning as people struggle to find food and water. The According to the UN, Gaza's hospitals are expected to run out of fuel for emergency generators today. And the United States announced over the weekend that a ship would be sent to the region in Haifa to ferry them to Cyprus. Now, this is after a majority of commercial airlines have been canceled coming into the international airport in Tel Aviv. Sandra Diaz, a U.S. tourist on vacation in Israel, said that she felt safe after deciding to take a sea lift while waiting to evacuate Israel.
Come back and finish what we didn't get to see. And I feel so much for the people. Excuse me, it makes me tear up so much they're going through. But we're with them. We pray for them every day.
And amid the violence seen in Israel, a group of more than 50 Virginians have arrived back from that area, and they were on the church trip. Northern Virginia reporter Max Marcella shares their story, how they safely got back to the States.
It was a beautiful experience for Mass.
At Sacred Heart of Jesus Catholic Church in Winchester, Virginia, Father Bjorn Lundberg is reliving an unforgettable week. He and 56 others, including 7 family members, went to Israel to learn history, connect with their faith, and see things many of them have waited a lifetime to experience.
We were in Mass at the Garden of Gethsemane. It was a very spiritual experience. It was really amazing to be there.
And then chaos.
And during the Mass, I could hear explosions, and those turned out basically to be the Iron Dome working.
The sounds of hymns and prayers turned into the sound of intercepted missiles, the start of one of the most violent moments in the region.
I think if I didn't have a supernatural faith, I would have been more of a basket case.
As the group rushed back to where they were staying in Jerusalem, they observed from dozens of miles away the beginnings of war. Wayne and Cynthia White from Lake Frederick, Virginia, were part of the group.
The people in the street, there was a traffic, honking of cars, not knowing what was going on, but the sense of urgency to get back to the hotel.
But as he was leaving a land where right now there is no shortage of heartbreak and violence, Father Lundberg says he felt the importance and the power of peace and of prayer.
We got home because people were praying for us. It was a sign of God's love to me.
A sign that people oceans away are thinking of those in harm's way. And now those prayers, first received by these Virginians in Israel, are now making their way back.
You really got to know them as people and not just as something far away on the television. And I just want people to understand that they need to pray for everybody.
In Winchester, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.